So a lot of people were asking for more examples of how to multiply fractions, and so let's run through the last couple problems on this page here. So I'm going to be running through 11 through 20. So let's start with number 11, 32 over 21 times 7 over 8. So what do I want to do here to solve this? Well, remember, you don't want to multiply across because the numbers will get real big real fast without a calculator. This becomes increasingly difficult. What you can do is you want to look at 32 and look at either 21 or 8 and ask yourself, does 32 or any part of 32, is it divisible by 21 or 8? So hopefully you're able to see that 32 divided by 8 is 4. And we can also see that 7 divided by 21 is 3. So this is simply 4 over 3. So essentially what I'm actually doing, and I'm not going to do this for every one, but just to be clear here, I took 31 and I thought of 32 as 4 times 8. So I'm left with 4 times 8 times 7, and on the bottom 21, I'm thinking of 21 as 3 times 7, and then we also have the times 8. So I took this 32 and rewrote it as 4 times 8, and I took this 21 and I rewrote it as 3 and 7, and then just tacked on these. Okay, so now what do we do? Now what did I do, rather? And so all I did was I said, well, look, 7 and 7 divide out, 8 and 8 divide out, and that leaves me with 4/3. Okay, so let's try the next one. So on the next one, we're given 2 over 3 times 9 over 10 times 5 over 8. And so it doesn't really matter how many fractions I have. I'm still just going to go through and see if I can divide anything by anything. So if I look here, I have 2 and 10, and I can know that 2 goes into 10 5 times. Then I see 3 and 9, and I know that 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then I can also see that 5 goes into 5 once. So what am I left with? Well, I have 3 on top, and I have 8 on the bottom, and that's my answer. Okay. Note that when I go run through, for example, when I put 2 into 10 and I got 5, 5 goes on the bottom because 2, what I'm really doing is 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 10 divided by 2 is 5, right? Similarly, if you look at 3 and 9, when I divided this, 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So if you're having issues with deciding whether the number goes on the top or the bottom, whether it goes with the numerator or the denominator, just remember that you're dividing both by whatever value you want to divide both by. So again, let me just do it on the next one. So the next one, sorry, I got to erase. The next one is 1 over 4 times 15 over 20 times 6 over 9. And so if I solve this, what do I need to do? Well, I'm going to look at, I'm not going to use 1, let's look at 15. So 15 goes into which one of these? Well, 15 and 20 are both divisible by 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. Right? And then we'll see if we can do anything else. Well, 6 and 4 are both divisible by 2, so that would leave me with 3 and 2, right? And then I can see here that 3 goes into 9 3 times. And 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I don't have to write the 1, but I'm writing it to be clear. And then lastly, we have the 3 here and the 3 here that divide out. So that leaves me with 1 on top, because all of these canceled out on the top. And on the bottom, I'm left with 4 times 2. So 4 times 2, which gives me 1 over 8. Okay? If that gets difficult, try to break it down bit by bit. Do it one at a time. Maybe I'll do that on the next one. But rewatch the video, rewatch this section a little bit, and maybe that'll be clear if you're still having trouble seeing it. All right. I'll do the next one step by step. I'll cancel one at a time. So the next one is going to be 14 over 27 times 45 over 16 and times 2 over 35. So on this one, I'm just going to look at 14 and let's say 14 and actually see 14 and 35, and they're both divisible by 7. So 14 divided by 7 is 2, 35 divided by 7 is 5. So I said I was going to write it out, so that leaves me with 2 times 45 times 12. And on the bottom we have 27 times 16 times 5. Again, there are a lot of different ways to do it. You pick the way that makes the most sense to you. Alright, so what am I going to do next? Well, I'm just going to go left to right, so I see 2 and I see 16, so I'm like, well, 2 and 16 are both divisible by 2, and that's going to leave me with 8 here. So that leaves me with 45 times 12 over 27 times 8 times 5. Go to the next number, 45. 45 and 27 are both divisible by 9, so that leaves me with 5 and 3. So that's 5 times 12 over 3 times 8 times 5. And then I can see very easily that you have a 5 and a 5, so that leaves me with 12 over 3 times 8. And then we'll go and we'll say, okay, both 12 and 8 are divisible by, I could say 2, but I'm going to be more ambitious here, and I'm going to go with 4. So that's 3 and 2. So that leaves me with 3 over 3 times 2. And then we'll go with, obviously, 3 and 3 divide out, and that leaves me with 1 over 2. And so all of this breaks down to 1 over 2. And as you can see, step by step does take longer, but if it makes sense to you, break it down step by step. It doesn't matter. That's perfectly fine. Okay, alright. So let me run through 15 and 16, and those shouldn't be too bad as I erase the previous problems. Hopefully you are trying these and you're able to do these. Okay, sorry about that. So next one, 32 times 7 over 8. And all we're really trying to show you here is that if you have 32 by itself, it's still the same thing as 32 over 1. Every number, every natural numbers are like the numbers that are most natural to you. So like 1, 2, 3. Every natural number can be written as over 1. So 1 can be 1 over 1, 2 can be 2 over 1, 3 can be 3 over 1, etc., etc. Okay? So if you don't believe me, divide 1 by 1 and you'll see you'll get 1. Divide 2 by 1, you'll get 2. Divide 3 by 1, you'll get 3. So all I have to do now is ask myself how many times does 8 go into 32, and that's 4. So this just breaks down to 4 times 7, which is 28. And the next one is pretty much the same idea. So we have 12 over 7 times 7 over 8. And again, the 7 divide out. And that'll leave me with 12 over 8. When I look at 12 and 8, I can see that they're both divisible by 4, which leaves me with 3 over 2. Okay, 12 divided by 4 is 3, 8 divided by 4 is 2. And there you have it. Okay, and let me see if I can actually squeeze in 17, 18, 19, and 20. And this was the section that a lot of people were asking questions on, and hopefully it's actually not too bad after this. So this next one says, what's the area? And all you have to remember is that area is length times width. So if I look at number 17 here, I can see that the length and the width are 4 and 3/4. So 4 times 3/4. And again, we know that 4 is nothing more than 4 over 1. So because they have a 4 on the top and on the bottom, they divide out and leave me with 3. If I want to be technical, I want to say 3 inches. Cool? Alright, Let's go to the next one. So basically you're doing the same thing, it just looks a little different. Okay. And I would provide, if I gave you something like this, I would have to provide you with the formula beforehand. So you don't have to know the formula. So the next one, number 18, the formula for the area of a triangle, and I can't help but do this. If you know that the area of a rectangle is length times width, how much is a triangle? A triangle is half of the rectangle. So the formula for the area of a triangle, which I wanted to write triangle, then let me do it like that, is going to be nothing more than 1/2 length times width, but we usually call it base and height. So we just call that B and we call that H. So all I have to do is plug in. It says 10/3 and the height is 4. So we have 1/2 times 10/3 times 4, which is 4/1. So let's solve it. So what happens? So we know that 2 goes into 10 5 times, and I'm looking at the rest of it. 5 doesn't go into 3, 4 doesn't go into 3, so we are left with 5 times 4/3, which is 20/3. Again, at the end I multiplied 5 by 4, got 20, and the denominator is 3. So the answer here, the area of the triangle, is going to be 20/3. And now this will become centimeters squared. The squared is the fact that you're multiplying two dimensions together. So anytime you multiply dimensions together, you get something squared. Anytime you have area, you're going to get something squared. Okay, let's look at number 19 real fast. So give the area of a garden that measures, I believe that says 6 yards by 7/3 yards. So again, all it's just basically telling you in a fancy way is just to multiply everything together. So 6 times 7/3. 6 is just 6/1. 6 and 3 are both divisible by 3. Leaves me with 2 on the top, and that gives me 14. And here we go with yards. Again, it's area, so yard squared. And that's it for that one. Let's do the last one. Common Ground Catering anticipates 45 couples eating salmon at a year-end banquet, allowing 2/3 of salmon per couple. How many pounds? So if you have 45 couples and they each eat 2/3, that just is telling me 45 times 2/3. So you can see each of these problems is just telling you to multiply. It's just words and multiplying. And so again, 45 is the same thing as 45/1. We can see that 3 goes into 45 15 times, so it's 15 times 2, and that's 30. So you need 30 pounds. Hopefully that makes sense, and I will see you in the next video.